Hello, welcome to Mystic Moons and to the crazy, crazy of this world. This world is so crazy that go into, we have to lift ourselves off this planet and look into the heavens, try and figure that we are part of the universe, even to make sense of what we should do the next day or what's going to happen the next day. So strange these times. I don't think there could be anyone who's not perplexed, not confused about day by day. Day by day, something crazy is always happening. And in fact, you have to think that it seems as though we have this huge bullying culture that just goes around boom, 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 boom. I'm going to kill you. I don't like the way you look. Or, you make me sick. And then you don't deserve to live. Now, we all know that this is not the cosmic way. We all know it. Even those that are perpetrating this circus show, this hideous death circus, knows that this is not the way for existence. And it's disturbing the way we have this taunting and blasting and destruction. It's very disturbing, very disturbing. It's hard to even figure out what the future will be, what 2 weeks from now, what 1 month from now, and then it will pass. We do know the sun goes up and the sun goes down, and things pass, or they just add up. One pile of crap on another pile of crap makes a very, very stinky, unattractive way to live, unhuman way to live, inhuman. It's as though we're some kind of creatures from some sort of, horror show that ran its course 100 years ago, or maybe millions of years ago. Over and over again, we keep on making the same mistakes, the same actions, the same rhetoric, the same dialogue. So when you think of it that way, when you have something like, let's say, United States and Israel are being the aggressors in this sense, saying one fact, you have a 45-year-old government official, Pete Hegseth, saying that 47 years. Now, this man is only 45 years old, but he is saying in his enlightened state, for 47 years, Iran has did X, Y, and Z, and chopping off babies' heads and killing us and blah, blah, blah. Now, this 45-year-old man speaks as though he has lived more years than what he actually is biologically accounted for. Which makes you think one thing. Somebody's doing a lot of looking into books, jotting down doodles, doing things that do not have anything to do with actual 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I see what's happening. We're dealing with people, even Trump, as old as he is, subtract 47 from 80. Then again, and from a gold spoon, a privileged person, what does he know about these things? Well, in fact, what do we all know but reading history? And as we read history, we also look around from our day-to-day lives, and we see people that have been dehumanized, marginalized, thought of as being nothing more than humans with animal souls, being less than the beast of the slaughterhouse, right? But we also see people that do obtain a oneness and enlightenment, and that's what we're constantly trying to have: a civilization built on love and freedom, which are like words, maybe a fool's paradise words, but they are strives, goals for us to try and get. Now, today, fellow listeners, fellow seekers, fellow humans, real humans, empathetic humans, real people, real men and real women, real people, adults. Now, there seems to be no strategy. That's one thing about this horrible state of affairs that's happening. All right. Now, maybe there is some sort of kink type of procedure going on. And we're going to ask the spirits today, the consciousness, universal consciousness, the great wheel, the other dimensions, the fifth dimension and up, that since we have no outwardly planned goal or strategy other than boom, boom, dramatics and visuals, killing painful things, that to keep people in a state of agony, which is feeding some sort of extraterrestrial beings that love to see death and destruction because it's gratifying to have some kind of emotion in their solitary, empty, concrete type of mindset. But the question at hand here is the U.S. empire, and U.S. is an empire, it has over 1,000 bases all over the place, and then we have a bombastic 80-year-old leader who's going around saying, well, I'll do it when I'll do it. And he's, it goes beyond Caesar, it goes beyond Nero, it goes beyond any type of historically known leader tromping around the globe and asserting dominance. And asserting dominance requires a certain type of strategy, it does. And one that the enemy or the people that are opposed to the dominating force have to comprehend. And it seems as though something is going on. One thing about space, size, you can assume that everyone else who is little or less is not your equal and therefore not worthy of consideration. And then you can just get overconfident. But when you start to having what do you call it? A dialect of name calling, of toying with life. Life. I mean, even to take a goldfish out of a container and then lift it up out of the water and watch it choke to death. Very few of us are going to do that. Very few. Especially, let's say, if you value that goldfish not as a meat, but as a living sensual being, which it is. Which it is. And it just seems there's a high disregard for life. And it could go according to skin color. It can go according to fashion, raiments, clothes they wear. I mean, there's some, or the words, the language, the sounds that you hear by the ears. Of course, you hear by the ears, by the sound. But you kept my drift. It's called xenophobic. You're not like me. Bang, bang. See all this? Now, this is the state of war. Now, right now, Iran is laughing at the United States empire for saying, all join in a debacle of World War III and protect the Straits of Hormuz. Now, the Straits of Hormuz is it's like a 25 to 30 mile space that all the ships to go from one side of the world to the other side of the world go through, or at least the Gulf. They easily get their energy, their black gold, their oil and gas out of the country, right? And into other parts, Europe and Asia and so forth. And that seems to, actually 20% or 25% of the world's energy resources go through that. And that is being called by the United States empire as a point of connection. Now, why would the United States empire provoke the users like China? China gets 40-50% of their energy resources from that point of connection. India, same thing, as well as Europe and elsewhere. To think about this now, let's clear the air a bit. Now, we've gotten a little bit of 1, 2, 3. Thank you for the likes. Appreciate it. As you almost cannot expect to hear any type of truth real truth. I mean, there's so much censorship. Countries are saying, don't photograph me, you'll go to jail, don't do this, don't do that. And we're supposed to be rigid, like paper dolls or puppets, and move when we hear the siren. Now, the siren is a very scary thing all over the place. We hear them every day in the United States for like every ambulance, every police car, every fire engine. It takes out, and imagine, it takes out your hearing. It takes out your senses. We're trained like Pavlov's dog when we hear the siren to react. It's panic time. Even though the people that are coming to rescue us may not feel that way, we hearing it without any knowledge of what is what. Thank you very much. Appreciate that share. Now, but on a higher level, on a conscious level, let's figure this out. If your body, you have let's say a group of people. I mean, everyone has seen nature flicks. Let's talk about birds, cats, wild animals. Now, if the most wild animals, let's say the maternal urge or even the paternal urge, they have young. And then let's say the young is exposed to being eaten or something like that. The mother will, or the adult member of the babies will fight. And often there's some creatures, some animals, that will pretend they're wounded to lure the enemy, they will pretend they are prey to protect their young, and they will divert the attention of the what? The saboteur, the what's the word? The predator. That's it. The predator away from the vulnerable spot. Now we have to ask, we've had a huge blackout about what's happening in Israel. We see Tehran and the vast country of the Persian of India. I'm not India. Not yet, hopefully. Iran, which is the Persian Empire, 2,000, almost 3,000 years old empire state, being burned, cooked, fried, nuked, not nuked yet, I'm going ahead of myself, but being destroyed, absolutely destroyed. And we have to, and we also see the Gulf states and other places, the Gulf states, which are harboring the empire's bases, the U.S. empire's bases, which of course Iran has said they're fair targets because, hey, it doesn't feel good to be burned. It doesn't feel good to be killed. And they're using those way stations as regroup. Now, the Iranians, no one on this planet is not worthy of living a decent life. No one. Contrary to what is being told, either side. The way of peace and love is it. But we do not have peace and love right now. We do not have it. So strategy. We have to, think about Israel. Now, Israel and the United States started this war. Huh? Now, we haven't seen any marginal, like a teeny weeny sliver of any type of anything happening in the state of Israel. But we know that their Iron Dome, nothing is infallible. Nothing is. And we do know that the Iranians are an ancient culture, and they've been preparing for this date for 20 years, ever since Iraq. I think it's been 20 years since it happened. And one thing, if you subdue people, you put the chain on their neck, you make slaves out of them, they're not going to love you. And you shouldn't trust them, and they don't trust you. No, that's common sense, right? If you got to keep people down, then they will rise up like the phoenix. First chance you can. No matter how much you feed them, bribe them, beat them, they still want to be free. That's one thing we do have. We yearn for, as all humans, to be free and to love. But we're not getting that right now. Again, let's go back to the main question we're asking the spirits, the consciousness of this planet, the consciousness of the universe. Please help us understand more of this censorship of this news blackout, of this travesty of human action. Because war is senseless. War, what does it achieve? Hate, animosity, body parts for surgery on some end, food for some end. But let's get beyond that for a moment and let's go into the pure mechanics. And I mean strategy. Is United States attacking the Straits of Hormuz to save Israel? Now, if Israel was doing fabulous, was doing well, even well, doing good, doing okay, wouldn't there be photographs of it? Wouldn't you have like, I'm broadcasting from Tel Aviv, I'm broadcasting from Haifa, I'm like doing this, I'm doing that. Oh no, zip, zip, quiet. And then we saw recently a news compilation, a news interview of a six-fingered Menachem Begin. Now, I don't know, I never looked at his fingers, I just looked at his ears. And I didn't know he had six fingers. I didn't know that. But he grew an extra finger on each, according to this video that's saying he's okay and live. But now, again, think of the wounded animal. Think of animals protecting the part that's wounded the most. They're going to try and lure the attention from the Iranians to the Straits of Hormuz. And is it working? Is it working? Again, assuming that, are they doing this? Are they really shooting their own self in the foot? Because who wants to have China on your case? Even though daily in United States, you talk about China, Russia, as though we're not like on the same page, on the same planet. And we're all trying to get, the same piece of pie, the same slice of pie, the pie. Control of the planet. Now you have to think, you really have to think that there's other intelligence directing this and allowing this vulgarity, this massacre, this depopulation, look at these earthlings, they're so stupid, look at them. Some kind of something is going on. Don't you sense that? I mean, there's an inhuman force going around laughing or shitting up something. You understand what I'm saying? And the bombastic lessers of us are just reveling in being able to act out in a demonic manner, a non-human manner. I mean, so now, but we're calling upon higher intelligence to tell us, to show us, is the United States empire trying to almost like wag the dog, using the Straits of Hormuz as a ploy to save Israel from further damage, to save Israel, because the amount of disdain that the United States empire has received recently, we used to be thought of as fabulous. I mean, a long time ago, but at one point we were welcomed. Americans were welcomed a long time ago. Now we're like, not all of us, but the ones who are into colonialization, the ones that are into bend the knee, and the ones who are causing the pain. It's very hard to love someone, to like someone, if they're like, breaking your arm, twisting your arm, cutting off your tongue. Censorship. We all have the talking ability, and we all are men and women. There's children among us, yes. And there are seniles and demons and just people who have no brains among us. The weak-minded. But we have strong-minded people who believe that the world should be at peace. and the world should have happiness. And there are people that hate others because they're just not them. And we have a whole litany of vices, of reasons why people hate each other. But that's not the question right now. The question is, spirits tell us, is the United States Empire attacking the Straits of Hormuz to protect, to save Israel from further damage? Let's just see what we get randomly. Here we have the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups can be, of course, it's an emotional thing, an emotional need. Also, it's a physical need. Water, fluids, the cup of compassion, the cup of something. Once you have if you really, if you are in a desert, like the Gulf States used to be, most of it still is. If you're in the desert, what is water? Water is life. So we can look upon this Knight of Cups as offering life, offering moisture, parched, offering gift, offering life. We'll just take it as life. This Knight of Cups is the and also the force to act upon who gets to drink and who doesn't get to drink. Think of a desalination plant, which have been hit already, that they cannot have purified water. Oil cannot be separated from the water. The pollutants, the chemical bombs cannot be separated from the water. The hell these people are going for. But we have the cup of purity, the cup of water, real pure water, the Knight of Cups, and sympathy too. We extend life. And here we have the Star. Again, another healing requiem, healing method, a way of being able to patch up, which it does seem the Straits of Hormuz, since it is burning and bombing. And the question is the United States Empire trying to save Israel? Trying to save Israel. We have the Star, Piscean energy, again, intuitive. The actions speak more than the words. And then you have the president of the United States Empire being taunting verbals and stuff like that. It's like, look this way, look at me, don't look at Israel, right? We have that. Don't look at them, protect them. And this is this a ploy when you have the Gulf states, you have the Saudi, including the Saudis, Bahrain, Oman. Omanis have been not hit so much. But we do have, and we have the Middle East on fire. It's Lebanon, Syria, Palestine, what's left of it. And then we have here, look at this. We have two major arcana. We have the Hangman. The Hangman. The Hangman. Time card. Doesn't it seem that we are really trying to use the prospect of bringing World War III to protect who is visibly and emotionally involved right now? Right? Again, we have no way of knowing what is happening in the nation state of Israel. I don't know. I remember in other countries, in other wars, everything was like open. But now that we have so much communication, social media, things like that, why are we quiet? Why are we quiet? Why are we silent? Maybe we should see more horrors of war. Knock some sense into us, not thinking that these people are beasts, these people are dirt, these people are suffering. One knows that Israel has been in a state of civil unrest for about, I guess, the last 4 or 5 years. And they have tried to do many things to change the course of developments that have happened thus far. So we cannot have hate in our hearts on either side, But the point of the matter is the question, why are we trying to widen this when it is already painful? This, the Hangman. And then we have the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups. Again, the presentation. Well, what are you going to do? This is almost like the leader of the American empire saying, all right, all countries that want to keep the straits open, come and join us. Come and join the United States empire in keeping it open. However, their counteract with saying, Iran saying, all countries that are friendly, the word friendly, in other words, not bombing them and killing their children, killing their wives, husbands, aged parents, destroying all their air, water, it's food, whatever, everything. All nations that are not part of this conflict are welcome to continue as before. Now, this is a tug of war going on here. So each side is waiting to see just how this is playing out. How is this playing out? That's the question. Are we losing or are we winning? And what are we gaining and what are we losing? This is almost like a checkered game, a chess game or a game of checkers. But let's stay with a chessboard. Sides are drawn. The knights are up. The pawns are lining up. Are the Gulf states the pawns? King and queen. Checkmate, the rooks on the end. Well, it seems as though everyone's waiting. In the meantime, is this war? Where is this? It seems as though this is just a test, a tug of war, asking and then granting. President Trump asking countries to join this carnage against all human decency, join this death, destruction for the black stuff, the green stuff, the air stuff. We all know, not all of us, but we do know that free energy is in the air itself. Otherwise, you wouldn't have lightning. Otherwise, you wouldn't have wind. Nature does this on its own. And why haven't we been seen to have a device that can harness all this turbulence and give us what we need? It's interesting, isn't it? Because we all know what lightning strikes, right? Nature does a pretty good scene of destruction and excitement and energy by itself. It doesn't need to be put into a human laboratory. We know that, don't we? We know that. But there's something that drives us, that drives our humanity to the toilet, to the sewage chamber, to the loo, to turn us into something that is not something that we can really bring to the universe and the rest of the planets, the rest of the beings of other galaxies, to our own galaxy. We are not alone, but we're acting as though we are alone, but we're not. And who and whom is benefiting from this chaotic energy, this need to suppress, this need to censor, this need to deny freedoms, to deny love? Can you imagine creatures, who and what they may be, non-human creatures, that are out there really eating up and sucking up this chaos as though it was the most wonderful smells, the most nurturing meal in the world. Because certain creatures are so dead, so non carbon. Maybe there's silicon creatures that are, they just are jealous. The fact that we could touch each other, we can love each other. Maybe. Something is very bitterly jealous. And we see this conflict right now with the American empire going after the Straits of Hormuz with all its extra countries' interests. And the fact that in this country, in the United States, our energy prices are through the roof. I mean, something that was $400, 400 USD, is now in the thousands per month. It's so expensive. So expensive. So how does this help the masses, the population? How does this help? Hating, fighting, killing, except for maybe like, organ harvesting and other types of nasty things. Hmm. Or maybe it's some kind of alien meal. Who knows? Hmm. Well, here we have the sun. We have three major cards. We have the star, we have the hangman, and we also have the sun. So it seems as though part of their strategy is to use the Straits of Hormuz to save Israel from being further damaged. Now, how many countries have not figured that out? Because psychics are all over the world, seers of wisdom and light are all over the world. And it's very easy to see through the quagmire, the maze of lower energy, right? It's very easy. I mean, when you think about it, with the help of enlightenment, why? Why are we doing this? And will evil killings, evil destructions on both sides, will it cease? Will it cease? Or was it meant to even last 2 weeks? Was it meant to last a month? But however, the damage is great on all sides. And we have burned in our cerebral cortex memories that will take lifetimes to forget. Lifetimes. But I can see that, yes, the strategy is using the Straits of Hormuz right now, today, as a diversion. However, there's lots of forces, lots of aid, lots of bitterness, and it's not going to be just the Straits of Hormuz in the Middle East. No, because when people say, is this war the end times, to bring about the end times, the new Messiah? Now, again, focus on the fact that this is a planet called Earth, the age of the Earth, and also the mysteries of the Earth that are kept from the common man, the common woman, the common adult and child. That our time of disclosure, our time of being brought into universal, the universe, planetary awareness of who and whom and what is out there is now, and that is revelations. Do you think they're so happy about all this disturbances that are coming from this blue ball that we call home? No, they're not happy. They're not happy. And maybe some are like, like a gladiator show, team R, team S, team I, whatever. But we are in for something. Something. And I don't mean some kind of covert action. I'm going beyond our blue planet that is inhabited by humans, the human part of it. Somebody, some being is being appeased, and it's not our hearts, it's not our souls, it's not us, it's not us, it's not us, it's not us. If you'd like to support our channel, please do. Thank you for the likes. Subscribe, and we're going to investigate more, because this is an age of which people think, people assume, people are saying this is the end. What is an end? An end is the beginning of something new. The end of a colonialization, the end of an era of stupidness. Only I exist, I person, 3D consciousness. The more we have the door open to the worlds of worlds, the more the ones in control, the few of the many, are scared. And they perpetrate that fear onto the many. But look up in the sky. Think about being outside if you can't go outside. Look through the heavens and all the many objects, the vastness. Think about the life forms that are out there. And they're all not friendly. I'm not saying it's one big kumbaya. No, I'm not saying that. However, let us not color our chances before we even are able to embrace the others. The others are out there. Three-Eye Atlas just didn't disappear. Oh no. And that is out there. And perhaps that is also affecting the energies of everyone involved in this situation. The watchers, the bystanders, the participants, the so-called leaders of this carnage on either side. Something is at hand. And it's not just play it again, Sam. Play that record. War, war, war. Korean War, Vietnam War, World War I, World War II, Kosovo, the Slavic wars, the this, the that, Ukraine War. I mean, over and over again. Bang, 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 bang. Meat, meat, meat. Human meat. Human meat. It's not just that primitive. It can be reduced to that. It can be. And it's showing how it can be. But there's more to this. More to this. And that's the fear of those that humans, the masses, will be opening up themselves to. You can call it religion. You could call it anything. Awakening. The awakening. And I'm not talking about New Age, blubber blabber. No, I don't mean that. I mean the essence of who we are and what we are. And what we are capable of doing and seeing. That is the issue. That is the issue. Again, thank you for the likes and support the channel. Throw us a tip. Do this, do that. Whatever you want, because we're all on this spaceship, train ride, galaxy ride, plane ride together. Let's make the most of it.